Hey everyone, it's Mandy with 2 E's, and you've come to my show, Simply Rent It, which is also the name of my business. And I am your professional licensed rental consultant who has a deep passion for helping landlord investors save time, gain knowledge, and reduce risk without having to spend a ton of money hiring a full-time property manager. On this show, you'll learn all the tips and tricks you need for your investment property journey. On today's show, I wanted to cover lawn care services and whether it's something that you should include for your rental property or not. Being a full-time property manager for 6 years, I have gotten to work alongside owners who have done several different options for lawn care, and I think there are really 3 different ways to go about it, so I'm going to break it down for you. So option number 1 is for the owner who wants to include lawn care services in total, meaning mowing your lawn and taking care of all of the weeds and maybe volunteer plants that grow up alongside the home. And this is a great option for those people who are maybe renting their first home and they don't own any lawn equipment or they've never mowed a lawn before. This can really appeal to them. This can appeal to someone who is working full-time, commuting a lot, doesn't have a lot of time in their schedule to maintain the lawn. Or maybe someone who's elderly and doesn't have the capability or desire to want to mow the lawn themselves either. It's also another really great opportunity to just draw people in as an extra amenity that you're giving for your property. And before including lawn care services in total, I would highly suggest that you reach out to several different companies and obtain some quotes to see what it's going to cost you and get an estimate for the whole season or per time. And that way you know kind of what to charge in your rent because you don't want to be out that money. You want to include that as part of your monthly rent. So before going this route, or if you're thinking about changing it for the next person that's coming in, if you're having a turnover, or if this is your first property, figure out the costs and then incorporate it into your monthly rent. A lot of times, people who rent don't even realize that their rent includes those costs. They just think it's an awesome amenity and that you're providing for them for no extra thing. So it's a great way to draw people in, like I said. The second option would be for someone to include lawn care services that just include treating for weeds. Or voluntary trees that may grow up, plants that may grow up along the side of your home. And then this option requires that the tenant take care of lawn mowing, just mowing the grass, the lawn themselves. And so this can be a great option if you have a rental in a neighborhood that is maybe in a homeowners association or a neighborhood that's more upscale. Or if you're someone who just really cares about your lawn and you don't want it to look bad with a bunch of weeds, because honestly, I have seen this option played out several times where the tenant will just mow the lawn and everything goes great, but all of a sudden the lawn's covered in weeds. So you could have a lawn full of dandelions or crabgrass, and if you hire services that come in to spray or treat for these, it can be a good option. So again, I highly suggest calling around, figuring out how much it's going to cost you, getting the best bang for your buck type thing, but also a reputable company because you want someone that you can trust because they're going on to this property, that you have a tenant who's trusting you to take care of the property itself. So you want somebody that's reputable that you'll be able to rely on. You also want to discuss with your tenant. I ran into a situation once where we hired someone to go out and spray the lawn, and the person didn't know that the lawn was being sprayed. Their child was severely allergic to those type of chemicals and had a nasty breakout. So it's very important that if you're having any type of chemical sprayed or any treatments done, that you communicate with your tenant so you don't get caught in a situation like that. Again, communication is the key to a successful rental experience on all levels. And then the third option is just to let your tenant take care of everything themselves, meaning mowing the lawn and treating for any weeds, and also taking care of any volunteer weeds or trees or plants that grow up alongside your home or the garage or whatever you have on your property. And so I have seen this played out a number of different ways as well. Sometimes you'll get a tenant that's great, that will do all of those things. They won't complain, they won't say a word, they'll just do it. And then you get the tenants who aren't so great at taking care of the lawn. You have to send them reminders because maybe the city has sent you a notice saying the lawn is too long, and if you don't mow it, you'll get a fine, or they'll come out and do it for you and charge you type thing. And also you'll get the people who will, like I mentioned prior, just mow the lawn, but not take care of the weeds. And so you'll have a lawn that's maintained, but if you're not careful, if you live out of state, if you're not able to check on the property that often, you could come back to a home that has lots of volunteer weeds and trees, and that can take a lot of time to get rid of if you're the one having to come in and take care of that after they move out during the checkout process, or even just providing notice for them to take care of it is sometimes really hard. In my experience, I've provided several notices to people and they've gone ignored for several times. So it's hard. Again, communication is really the key to having a successful rental property. And I think you should also really treat it like a business. Make sure that you're in charge of what's happening, and treat it respectfully. So those are 3 different types of ways that you can include lawn care services for your home or not. In my experience, I think if you care about your lawn whatsoever, or the neighbors or the neighborhood, at a minimum, I think that you should hire a company to at least come in and treat for weeds, whether it's just the minimal service that they offer, or a bi-weekly or weekly, whatever. I think that it's important that if your tenant isn't taking care of it, if you're not having that communication of open lines with them to see if they're actually going to follow through and do that it's just a good preventative thing to do to make sure your lawn stays good, so you don't end up with a lawn that has a bunch of purple flowers that is actually crabgrass, or a bunch of dandelions with yellow little flowers all over. So there are a bunch of different companies in town that you can use. If you do a Google, there'll be several that'll pop up. Just to name a few that I'm familiar with that I've used in the past, there's Quality Lawn Service, there's Pitt's Lawn and Tree Service. There's a lot of companies that do like tree service and snow removal that also do lawn care. So don't disregard those when you come across them on Google. I've used A+ Lawn. They're more of like a very commercialized company. Sometimes if you use like a local company, they're able to give you a better deal, or they'll match what the more commercialized company is. So that's why I think it's important to reach out to all these companies and get a bid for what they would charge for you. I think it's important to also look at the reviews and like I said, get a reputable company that you can rely on. So that's it for this video. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you have any suggestions for my next video, leave a comment below. If you have any questions about reputable companies, I'd be happy to communicate with you and let you know my experience with them, give you a few suggestions. But this is not paid advertisement whatsoever. I'm just kind of giving a shout out to the companies I've used. I know I'm forgetting a few, but like I said, if you do a Google search, tons of companies pop up. So I would start there, and I hope that everyone is having a great week, and I will see you again next Friday. Bye-bye.